Hola, hola, buenas noches, good evening. This is Juan Catamayo, JCT for Education for You. Welcome back to our series of lives. Last year, we run 71 lives. I don't know how we did it, and thank you so much, everybody, for surviving our lives. Welcome, bienvenidos a todos y todas a nuestro vivo. Hola, Rodrigo, un abrazo para ti, un saludo para todos. Rodrigo, hoy tenemos Universidad en Boston, la Universidad de Boston, and we have an extraordinary guest that actually was with us here last year. JCT for Education, remember this video will be housed on IGTV and YouTube. JCT for Education for You. Enviando un saludo para todos, un abrazo para todos en Boston, en Colombia, en Chile, en Miami. Bueno, aquí viene, and here he is, Liam. This is Liam. How are you?
I'm so good. Instagram did not want me to join this conversation.
What's going on?
Not much. It's a beautiful evening here in Boston. We had some of our first spring weather today, and that's been, really exciting.
Great. So for everybody watching, this is when you go live. I can't even think of a news anchor that they go live and technical difficulties happened today. Liam McCartney, he works at Boston University. We're very honored to have you, Liam, back with us. Liam is the Senior Assistant Director of Admissions. So students, if you're watching, parents, if you're watching, today is the day to ask a lot of questions. And Liam and I, we had our conversation last year on May 1st of 2020. Liam, it's been 10 months. Can you believe that?
It's really hard to believe. In some ways, it feels like it was last week, and in other ways, it feels like it was 5 years ago.
It is amazing how everything is moving. But just to refresh everybody, Liam himself, he went to Boston University and he received his his Master's of Science in Education, year 2014. And actually, prior to that, he went to University of Delaware, where he received his bachelor's as well. Liam and I, we both serve on the International ACAC committee, and we had the privilege to work for an amazing organization. And now I left. I mean, my period is over, but you're still working as a volunteer. You're doing a lot of work and outreach. So, Liam, the question is, how are you?
Personally, I'm good. My coworker said it to me about a couple weeks ago. She said, "I think what the word you're looking for is I'm pandemic fine," and I think that's exactly how I feel. Everything, all things considered in the world, I'm good. I have my home, I have my family and my health. I have my job. Things are going as well as they can be, given everything in the world.
Good. Liam, are you guys still working from home, or are you going back to the Office of Admissions, working in the office?
Yeah, so we are at almost the 1 year mark from the last time that I worked in the office on BU's campus. I think the last time I went into the office was about March 13th, around the time that I know many of us around the world had that. And since then, I've been working from home here.
Okay, and so things have changed a lot. Today, I was counting the number of dates is day 365 since I left the whole team. We say goodbye, and we're still working remotely from all over the world, and things have changed. So I'm sure that a lot of things have changed personally for you, for the university, for everybody. So do you care to share what has changed for the university?
Yeah, I think lots of things have changed. You're so right. So I think in terms of the university, for us in the admissions office, it's meant that, as I said, we've worked exclusively from home. For our students, they all returned home, and everything last spring semester was offered via remote learning. But then starting in the fall and then continuing with the spring, we've had our program which is called Learn from Anywhere. And it's allowed our students to either come to campus and take classes here in Boston, or to take their classes remotely from anywhere in the world, basically, that they would like. So we do have students right now living on our campus. We have had that for the entire academic year. That's been really exciting to see a residential component continuing. There's of course been lots of changes to what that campus community has looked like. Some classes have intensified to maintain social distancing. You'll see masks all around campus. And of course we have a rigorous testing campaign. So students are actually given a COVID test twice per week in most cases. And as of right now, Boston University has administered over 750,000 COVID tests since last August.
Wow. Wow. So let's just stop there for a second because there is too much information to absorb here. I was telling our audience that you're the first university guest of year 2021. We haven't invited anyone yet. You're the first one. So a lot of good information is coming over our way. I just want to pause a second, say hi to Sergio Guardazzi. Thank you for joining us. Liam, are you still there? We're having some. Liam, okay, I got you back. So Liam,
there you go.
How many students? What's the total enrollment right now at BU?
So our total enrollment is actually flat. And so we have about the same number of students right now at Boston University as we did about a year ago. Now, of course, we don't have the same number of students on campus as we did about a year ago. Many students have chosen to do remote learning for a variety of reasons. So we don't have the same number of students living in the residence halls here, but our enrollment is very similar to what it was in years past, which is typically about 15 to 16,000 undergraduate students.
And with the graduate population and continuing education, how many total?
Yeah, so that actually brings us all the way up to just over 30,000 students at Boston University between both our undergraduate students and then our graduate programs as well.
Okay, so you have a mini city going on and you're running testing twice per week. That must cost a fortune. Do you have numbers of the university allocated a special budget just for testing? Just as I love numbers and statistics, what's the budget for something like that?
Yeah,
so big, so robust.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. This is costing a lot of money. What I do know about the testing program is that the university decided that basically they were going to come up with what the testing needed to look like in terms of our own comfortability with public health guidelines, and then it was going to cost what it cost. And so, student safety and staff safety and faculty safety, that was going to be more important than what it was going to cost. And so, but I do know that it has cost quite a bit of money. You're right there. We are lucky in that at BU, we have been able to run the testing on campus, which has meant that, we're running it all in-house. We're not exporting it over to other vendors or anything. Everything's done right at the university. Although I have been working remotely, as I said, for about a year, I have had the chance to have a couple COVID tests done at BU, and that process has been remarkably smooth. And I think one of the best parts is that it's fast. It's not a rapid test. It is the PCR test. But most students, faculty, and staff are getting their test results back in less than 24 hours.
Okay, so a lot of things have developed, and one of them is phone apps. Phone apps are popping out right and left. Tell us a little bit of the communication, like command center. Where do BU students, faculty, staff, where do you get the information, the most current information?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple different areas. For students, faculty, and staff that are spending time going onto campus and maybe need to have that testing done, a lot of them can access this information through the BU Healthway app. I've used it via a web platform, but I know that there are some folks who will access that using an application, and that allows you to kind of access that health part of the application. I do know that also there are a good number of different Twitter accounts and Instagram accounts that folks are following. Boston or BU Tweets is the kind of the Twitter of the university as a whole. We also have our student-run campaign, and I'm not going to use the full slogan. The language of this Instagram live, there's a little bit of profanity in it, but it's fully run. Okay. And that they want to make sure that they are keeping it, a safe environment for us. You can look that up online, but I won't say it here on live.
Okay, Liam. One of the things that I use when I need information from you guys, your LinkedIn account, Boston University account, is phenomenal. Every day there is 2 or 3 or 4 major updates on LinkedIn. So for parents, if you're watching, highly recommend it. Liam, so how many freshmen do you guys receive this year?
So in terms of applications in the admissions office, we have had quite a busy few months. We have been reviewing over 75,000 applications for admission. Okay, wow. And what's your projected freshman class? Yeah, we hope that our freshman class that will start with us in the fall will be about 3,200 students. Okay, and what percentage of that will be international? Hopefully the same as it's been for the last few years, which is about 24% of international students coming from around the world. We've been very lucky at BU historically to have students coming from many, many different countries. There are over 100 represented in our undergraduate student body, and fingers crossed that's what things will look like for us over the next few months. Okay, now housing. So parents are asking the question, students housing residential dormitories, how will that be working for our freshman students going into Boston University? Absolutely. So BU will continue to guarantee housing for not just a student's first year, where it's actually required for first year students, freshman students have to spend their first year on campus. We do then guarantee housing for all 4 years here at BU. For our transfer students, we also do guarantee housing for your entire time as a Boston University student. That could be maybe you're coming in for just the last 2 years, maybe you're coming in for 7 of your 8 semesters. You'll have that guaranteed housing as well. We have made some changes to housing here at BU given the pandemic. There's been that, I mentioned the de-densification in classrooms. There's also been a little bit of de-densification of our residential life as well. We've made sure that this is a safe environment for students. We still do have students with roommates. It's not that we've moved to an all single room model, but there are less students living on campus right now. Hopefully that will change as we move into the next academic year. I know that's what I'm hoping for, that we can return to a little bit more of our full residential experience. But we've definitely made some changes to both housing and dining for students here given COVID. Okay, perfect. Thank you for that update. Tell us a little bit about once the students arrive to campus, how has it been, or when they arrive to campus, the classes, the class size? Parents are asking, you have a large university, how are the class sizes? If students are alternating like hybrid mode, if you're in Boston, BU, you take 2 classes from your dorm or from the library, and then you go to a small classroom. So like the large auditorium classes, whatever happened to those? Yeah, so luckily at BU, despite being a large school, like you said, our average class size is about 27 students. But of course, you have those larger classes that you're going to be taking, particularly as a first semester student. What we've done at BU is there's been a lot of changes to where classes are meeting. So we've tried to enhance the size of a classroom so that more people can be in there in a safe, socially distant manner. And we've also done, depending on the class, a little bit of rotation. I actually took a class last semester at Boston University, a class just for fun. And we were able to, our class was about 20 people, but the room that our class met in had been deemed safe, socially distant-wise, for about 10 folks. So our professor basically put us on an every other week rotation. So I was in the B week, I think. So every other week I could, if I wanted to, go into class and be there in person. Otherwise, I would learn remotely from home. I know that that is how some classes are operating. And for other classes, it might be that you can come in anytime that you want, or you take everything remotely. It really is a class-by-class basis. What is also true that I've really appreciated is that you didn't make a decision for the entire semester. You can make that decision on a case-by-case basis. So you can say, you know, I felt really good about going in on the first day, and then I showed up and there were too many people. I don't feel comfortable coming back, or I'm not feeling great today. I'm going to take this class remotely. At this academic year, every class at BU has been offered both in person and via remote learning, which has been exciting.
How's the temperature right now in Boston?
We had a great day today. So in Fahrenheit, we got to the mid 50s, which I know is not super warm summer weather, but considering that it was about 20 degrees not too long ago, it felt great to have that today. Okay, good. Because we're getting a cold front here in South Florida. It's 69, and for us it's too cold. Oh, 68. So
chilly. So I'm very sorry. But let's go back. So graduation, we didn't hear what's happening to the seniors graduating this year. Is there a graduation ceremony? What has the university announced?
Yeah, so the university just announced about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago now, that we will be holding commencement for the class of 2021, which I am thrilled and excited about. I think for me, you know, remembering back to my undergraduate years and that feeling. And so I'm really excited that they're going to have that opportunity. I imagine it will look different this year than it has in years past. We've also, you know, kind of said with all of this that there's always that disclaimer that if something changes and if public health guidance doesn't allow us to, we may have to cancel. But right now we are planning to have that ceremony in May.
Okay, to those students graduating in May, congratulations. You still have a couple more months to go. So senior thesis going on, research paper, classes, but enjoy it now that you can. And congratulations for all of you that are graduating. Now, Liam, questions about for students that will be applying this fall. The first question that I have here is SAT, ACT, and I think we're having problems again with his router. We'll wait just for a second. Apologies to everyone. Sometimes it works well, sometimes it doesn't work with Wi-Fi. But the question is, students, Liam, let's see, let's give it a few more seconds. The question is, as students don't know, should I take the SAT? Should I not take the ACT? Liam, you wanna reset your Wi-Fi? Okay, while Liam's come back, I will fill in. So the question is, should I take it? Should I not take it? Students from around the world. Liam, are you there?
I am, yeah. So I know. So yeah. Sorry, you were breaking up a little bit, but I hear about the SAT or the ACT. You know, with it being test optional, what should I do as a student? And I think that was maybe something that we all had to adjust to last summer as we, you know, started to announce as universities that we were going to be test optional. For us at BU, I think that's been a great way for us to allow students to just relax a little bit and not think about that piece of the application and to really instead, you know, rely on the other parts. I would say for all students, take the exam if you can safely and you want to. I think that all of those things have to add up. What I can tell you safely from Boston University is that for us, we've seen about between 60 and 70% of our students applied to Boston University this year without the SAT or the ACT. Overall, we saw a very high percentage, a little bit higher actually, apply without SAT or ACT for early decision. and for early decision 2. And we saw almost identical percentages of students in our applicant pool as we did in our admitted class. So I can quite honestly tell you that in terms of Boston University, there is no inherent benefit to applying to Boston University with or without test scores. That SAT or ACT score does not give you a bonus point in your application. It does not make your application automatically stronger. I know that for students around the world, it's been hard to find a place where you can take the SAT or the ACT, or there's been a lot of anxiety or stress that built up, and you weren't as happy with your scores when you took them as when you received that score, and you decide not to send them. So we are continuing our test optional policy for next year. We will not require SAT or ACT scores for first-year applicants for the class of 2026. So that's students who are graduating high school in 2022. And so do not let this be a stressor on your application. We are not going to ask you why you aren't submitting test scores. You don't need to submit proof that you couldn't sit for them. If you don't have SAT or ACT scores as part of your application, that is perfectly okay. I think your application can be 100% strong with other areas of the application as well. And that is, and I want to add this here, that's true for BU for both admission, but also for our scholarships at Boston University.
Okay.
So we will have students who are to receive our merit-based scholarships this year, our need-based financial aid, admission to Boston University, admission to our Killeshond Honors College, who will have submitted an application without SAT ACT scores. And I know that in a year that has been plagued with so much anxiety and stress, I hope that this is something when you're thinking about Boston University that can come off your shoulders and you don't have to rely too much on.
Thank you. So my question is, how do you select a class? Let's see if that comes through. No, his audio is not coming through. Liam, my friend.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Oh, I see Sam Fleischman here. He's waving. The question is, how do you select a class of 3,200 students from 70,000 applications? How do you do that? So what do give students a bonus points? What is it? What's the magic?
Yeah, there's so much. And I think, the first thing I have to do is just applaud my colleagues in the work that they've done over the last. There is so much that goes into the review of applications. We look at everything that you send us. We're looking at your transcripts. We're looking at your essays. We're looking at your letters of recommendation. If you need to send them, we're looking at your English proficiency exam results. We're looking at all of these different pieces of the application. First and foremost, I think we're always looking for students that we know can come to Boston University and do the academic work here. And so, of course, the items on your transcript are important. We like to see students who have challenged themselves in a curriculum available to them at their high school. They're doing well in those classes. For some specific programs, like in our College of Engineering, we may really want to see that strength in math and science that you've had in high school. But I think even if you took the academic standards and you applied them to our applicant pool, it would still bring us far more than 3,200 students that we want in our first year class. And so it really is going to be all of those other pieces of your application that can really help you to stand out. And that is things like your essay. I think that a student's essay is the best way at Boston University for you to introduce yourself to us, kind of give me your hand, let me shake your hand, meet you during the time that I'm reading your application. And that's not something, that's really for us the best way that we get to know you as a student and as an applicant in our process. We don't offer evaluative interviews as part of our process here at BU. With 75,000 applications, that would be really, really challenging for us to do. So that's a really great way for us to get to know you. We also look at your application essay that asks you specifically about BU. This is worded something along the lines of what excites you about Boston University and has led you to apply. And so here we want to see the specifics. I don't think it's a secret to anyone joining us today that we are not the only school in Boston. There are many universities in Boston. And so while the city itself is a great reason to come to BU, it's a reason, certainly for me, that I've stayed at Boston University for 10 years, that I really love living here. It can't be the only reason that you want to come to Boston University. So tell us something else specific about why you want to come. There's also going to be, of course, your letters of recommendation. We love to hear about you from other points of view and the things that you've done outside of the classroom. We don't want students to come to Boston University and spend all of their time in class and all of their time in the laboratories studying. We want to make sure that they're giving back to that community as well. And so I think that that's really important, how you've given back to your own high school community.
Okay. Thank you. I think we were able to listen at that answer, and I'm gonna wait for that wave of Wi-Fi from Liam's home to go through. So Juan Felipe, buenas noches from Colombia. So we listen. I have a really good question for him. I'm just waiting for his technology to come back. But the question is, can Liam share one of his favorite college essays about why Boston University? And students, you get a lot of the answers when you're prepping for your SAT, your ACTs, when you're prepping for a class. So the question for Liam, if he can share one of his favorite why Boston University essays. Liam, did you hear me, and can you share that answer with us? And while he answers that, we have, thank you, Juanca, un abrazo desde Chile, un abrazo para M Torres 04. And boy, his Wi-Fi is not cooperating today, and I need to get that answer about college essays before we jump into a few more questions. Liam, what's going on with your Wi-Fi? You're killing us. We want to hear your answers. Let's give him a little bit more of time while he gets his Wi-Fi together. Christian, since you're managing technology for JCT for Education, how is our audio? How is our video? Is it good? Please send me thumbs up if everything is good. Please don't tell me it's me. Okie dokie. We're waiting here one more time. Let's give it a second because I'm here. Okay, Maria says she hears me well. So my question to you is, can you share one of your favorite college essays for why Boston University? Can you give us an example? A lot of students, they say, hey, what do I write? And I tell the students now, you cannot copy this one. So like taking an exam. So can you share? Thank you, Sergio. Thank you, Max. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you all for helping out with, fortunately, it's not working out for Liam. Okay, he just left. Hopefully he will send me a request back. So anyway, I have those questions for him. Number one, can he share the BU college essay, one of his favorite? The topic will be good. That will be good. Okay, and here he is. Let's invite him over. And and Sebas Curiel says it is good. Thank you so much, my friend. Thank you for helping out, and we will get that answer. I also have a question of General Studies. A lot of students want to hear more about that opportunity at BU. Also, the London campus. We want to hear. Liam, welcome back. Okay, we got to tell BU to give him a better Wi-Fi. It's not working, or probably something is going on in the city of Boston. Hola, Marena. Thank you for joining us. We are with Liam McCartney from Boston University. We're trying to get him back. And thank you all for joining us. We're going to give it a minute or so. My friend.
I don't know what's going on, Wonka. I really
Don't worry about it. So let's see if we can get this question from you. One, can you share one of your favorite Boston University essays, like the Why BU, that a lot of students ask, okay, what do I write? 250 words. Number one, are you going to have that prompt next year? And two, can you share one of your favorite ones?
Yes. So I can't say with 100% certainty that we will have that same prompt, but I feel fairly confident that we will have either that exact prompt or something similar to it next year. I think it's hard to pick a favorite one because I think that one of the things I love about BU is that we don't draw in only one type of student. So I'll give three quick examples of one. But I think I've read of some really good ones that talk about a student's desire to do research. As you may know, I know you know, Wonka, we have a big undergraduate research opportunity here at Boston University. And so I've seen students write in about the specific project that they want to do. Maybe it's related to a project that's been ongoing here at BU. And so I love reading about specifics like that. I've seen others that relate to specific activities or highlight aren't as widely known. And that just tells me a little bit that you've done your research. And then one that I hope can come back in the near future is that chance that you have to come and visit our campus. I know that that's something that we've been unable to do for the last year, but I love reading those essays about when a student visited a certain area of campus for the first time. What I've enjoyed this year, it hasn't happened as much as it hasn't happened that much, but it has, where a student took our virtual tour. Okay. We have a lot of virtual courses, and I think hearing that student kind of put that information in there, I'm like, yes, you spent some time, you learned about us, you know what makes us unique from our peers and our neighbors. That's really exciting. Okay,
so the bottom line is do your research, don't bluff, and just find something unique and interesting about Boston University. So you mentioned whether it's research, whether it's an activity, or something very unique about your visit, or even the virtual experience that you have. Now, it takes me to the next question here is students that want to visit Boston University, how is the campus tour, the campus visit situation right now?
So right now, Boston University is not open to visitors in any formal way. If anyone has been to our campus before, you may know that Boston University is not a closed campus, so it is not entirely gated off. You can come and walk around the campus yourself. You may not be able to get into every building that you want to get into. You may not be able to see all those different places, but you can get a feel of the area. I don't know that we have that many folks doing that, but that is something that is a possibility. We do offer multiple times every week a virtual campus tour. So you can and it's a live tour given by our tour guides. They walk around on Zoom. There's two of them. One is the cameraman or camera woman, and the other is the woman or man on camera giving that tour and answering questions. And that's been a really great way for you to both meet a current student and also see a little bit of our campus. And I'm hopeful that as vaccinations continue to increase, as we begin to enter a little bit of a post-pandemic world here in Boston and around across the US, that hopefully we can have some on-campus experiences sometime soon. Although when that sometime soon will be, I think it's just too early to say. I know that once we're able to at Boston University, in the admissions office, we're excited to welcome people back to campus and to be able to meet you and your families as you come to learn more about us.
Okay, so I guess we will run another live next time with better Wi-Fi, please. And we will talk to you a little bit about post-pandemic, how is everything going on. We have a lot of parents that sign up in and out, and students. Can you tell us the purpose of the College of General Studies and a little bit about your campus in London, please?
Absolutely. So the College of General Studies at BU is a 2-year program that you start at Boston University in the College of General Studies for your first 2 years. It's a liberal arts program where you will both take classes through the College of General Studies, as well as one class each semester in the area that you ultimately intend on studying, whether that be international relations or business or communication. And then at the end of your 2 years, you go right into that program. You spend your academic time in that program for the next 2 years, and you still graduate from Boston University about 4 years after you graduated from high school. So if you're high school class of 2021, you should be Boston University class of 2025.
Okay.
So the two differences about this program are, one, you start your academic studies at Boston University in January. So you will have for many of students around the world, a gap semester where you'll have the fall semester off. You start classes here in the spring in January, and then the program is intended to have students spend about a 5 to 6 week program in London over the summer. Now, of course, due to the pandemic, both in 2020 and 2021, that has not been the case. But we will hopefully return to London sometime soon. And we've still been offering, of course, that summer experience to students right here in Boston so that they're not losing any time towards graduation.
Okay. And a lot of students, they are right now going through English proficiency. So you're taking Duolingo.
Yes.
Okay. And what's the score, and if there are sub scores that you would love to see with Duolingo? Okay, I think we just lost him. Liam?
For sure. So for Duolingo specifically, I would say that the most competitive most competitive students for admission are going to be scoring at least a 120 to a 130 overall with consistent subscores. So we don't have minimum subscores for each one of the 4 areas of the Duolingo, but we like to see consistency across the board with that total score being kind of at least in that 120 to 180 range.
Okay, perfect. And by the way, we will have Sam Fleischman from Duolingo walking us through the test. I believe next week we have Sam, so stay tuned. New majors that have developed since we last spoke last year, May 1st. Any new things with BU that you want to share? Majors, updates?
Yeah, so we have a couple new academic things at BU. The first is our new Center for Computer Sciences and Data Sciences. So this is a new physical building that is currently under construction here at Boston University. And the academic program for that will start next fall. This program in data sciences, and that's going to include both an undergraduate and a graduate component. And the Center for Data Science is physically in about the center of our campus, which is both conveniently where there was a place to build a building, but also a really good metaphor and symbol of what we think about data sciences at Boston University. We know that data sciences come into play not just for students who want to study computer science, but it's really true for students across so many different areas. And so kind of being this center of our campus, we hope will allow students from a variety of different programs to take advantage of data sciences in their own individual academic area.
Okay. Liam, the Office of Admissions at Boston University, fall travel, domestic and international, is still on hold. I know a lot of schools don't allow anybody in yet. So how's recruiting? How is that process for you guys?
Yeah, so all of this year for the 2020 to 2021 school year, we've been doing everything virtually like this. So we haven't had any in-person recruitment, either travel-wise or for on-campus in that whole time. I think that depending on what the fall looks like, I could see a whole variety of things. I could see us being entirely virtual again. I could see some sort of hybrid for that recruitment, and I could definitely see some travel if it's possible. But at this point, we just don't know. Currently, the university still is not allowing us to travel. And I think that in terms of everything we're hearing from public health, that's the best decision that they can make for all of us as staff members and community members, and for all of the people that we talk to as well.
Okay, Liam, we gotta go, and I want to ask you a question. What have you learned from this period, from this pandemic that is so unknown to all of us? What are your thoughts? What are your learnings, and what is your message to students, parents, high school counselors, everybody that is watching here right now?
Yeah, I think my message is, remember that this is something we're all going through. And I think that that's a really important thing to think about. What you are going through as a student in your high school, it could be a little bit different than someone at a local high school, but I don't know of a school in the world that has had a perfectly normal academic year, or frankly, 2 academic years now. So remember that stress, that anxiety, that what's going on feeling that you have, I think it's shared by so many other people. And that doesn't make it easier to feel, but hopefully it will make you realize that you're not alone in this, and we're all going through this together. And I think that we are all figuring this out, and we're all going to make it through into what's going to, hopefully be a brighter future for everybody. I know that for me, I've tried to learn how to go to work, have fun, and live in the same small area here in Boston. My apartment is both my office, my home, my gym, my kitchen. It's everything. The restaurant that I'm going to, it's everything right here in this apartment. And so I think I've learned a little bit about how to use space in the right way that can allow me to not really travel very far, but feel like I've gone in different places and spent that time well.
Do you think that you're?
And I think a further message.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go.
I was going to say, and then a further message. Remember that all of us here at universities are here to support you. And you should never, ever be afraid to reach out to us and ask questions. I ask for your patience as we are getting ready to release decisions. And yet at the same time, know that we're really excited to meet you. We are so excited to get to know you, to help guide you through this process that we know can be challenging and daunting. And we want you to be successful through everything that you're doing.
And have you learned good cuisine recipes? Have your cooking skills improved?
They have. I've always enjoyed cooking as a way to de-stress, and I think that that's really been heightened during the pandemic. I got a couple good cookbooks for Christmas from my mom, and that is what dinner is awaiting me. Or it has been waiting for me after every day of reading applications. I know that there's something fun that I can do in the kitchen to get going on.
Well, no, you always been a good host. You've always been really, really good with us, with the students, with the families, with our colleagues. Always so positive. I know you're super busy reading apps. You have a lot of duties, and I work in admissions, so I know how it is. And giving an hour of your time to all of us, it means a lot. It means a lot to the students, particularly our juniors that are looking right now, juniors from around the world, parents that have a lot of questions, and just to have a voice from the university, just walking them through the process, it is an honor. Next time we're gonna make sure your Wi-Fi works better, but at least we have audio. And no, this is like we say in Espanol, mi casa es tu casa. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you to all the viewers for your patience and for the good questions. Remember, this video will be housed on IGTV, on YouTube. And send us your comments. We're here. And Liam, thank you so much. Muchas gracias.
Gracias, my friend. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone for joining. Students and parents know that I'm always here to help if you have questions about Boston University. And I'm wishing you all the best in the future. To everyone watching, please stay safe, stay healthy, stay well. We hope to see you sometime soon.
And there is a page on Instagram that is really good. Apply BU, correct?
Yes, apply at Apply to BU, a great place for all those resources.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. And for those parents that have stayed here all the way through the conversation, thank you so much. Again, if you have questions, we will be more than happy to share your contact information. It's also on their website. Thank you, my friend. Buenas noches. Bye-bye. I want to tell you what's going on right now. We have juniors looking into universities right now. They're starting their college process while the seniors are still waiting to hear news from colleges and universities. So most students are getting final rounds of news between this week until the end of March. So that means 3 more weeks to understand, to learn the process. And then during that period, we have 1 month where the student will have the final decision, the final say of where he or she wants to go. The ones that applied early decision, they are already committed, they already withdraw their applications, they know where they're going. And the ones that apply early action and regular, they are just pending their final news. So what happens next to the parents watching? You have 1 month to have your child and with the whole family decide where the next institution is going to be. Of course, we are also looking at students looking into European universities. Asian universities are also an alternative. African universities, also Latin America. So the world is going global and is working out really, really well in terms of mobility. So today I had a session with one of my juniors. She just started the process. And what do I have working primarily is the career evaluation. What does she wants to study? To me, that's one of the most important components of the application process, a career evaluation. With that evaluation, we take it into consideration, and then we look at a list of major 12 areas, criteria that will tell the student where to study. In regions of the world, perhaps, type of programs, and we put like a strategic plan that will help the students submit their first round of applications, whether it's October 15th, prior October 15th, 5 days earlier, or prior November 1st. Again, to the students, we don't want to submit, you don't want to submit applications the day that the deadlines are due.